Well, hello there, my friends. Happy Friday to you if you're watching live. Hope you're doing great. On this video, I am going to be sharing and answering questions about these topics. One is knowing the right decision to make. This is so crucial. We are often faced with many choices. How do we know we're making the right decision that is, without second guessing ourselves? I'm also, and as time allows, I'm going to try to get to all of these. How to stay inspired and moving forward, and I'll share some of my own experiences about being able to publish books and doing a lot of creative things in my life, and also addressing, if time allows, saying affirmations about other people. I think we're all familiar with I am affirmations, but can we say affirmations for other people? And there's other right and wrong ways, or effective and less effective ways to do that. So I'm going to be addressing all of those. Before I get to those, so stick around. If any of those topics interest you, I'm going to address them. I'm going to do my best to hone in and deliver a lot of value here, while also acknowledging the good people who are watching live. We already have our first comment, and that's one of the first things I'm going to ask you to do, because I always love to interact. I love to know where people are watching from. So say hi and let me know where you're watching from, because this is a global community here, and this amazing tool that we have. I'm just so grateful for YouTube and for the ability to use this platform to reach people around the world. But it looks like it's Darlene in Jacksonville. Is that Jacksonville, Florida, I believe? Inspiration. So thank you so much for the inspirations. Your recordings have helped me so much during my morning commute. Oh, awesome. Yeah. That's great to hear. Thank you so much, because I know a lot of people will typically, guided meditations or affirmations are done. You just go and you get into a meditation posture and you close your eyes and you say them to yourself in a quiet space. But really, most of the things that I create probably could be used in many situations. So during your drive is a great time to have that university on their inspiration on wheels, or by public transportation. Or while you walk or jog or clean the house. And so thank you for pointing that out. It looks like a tiny perhaps is from Chicago. Hello, Natalie. I'm just going to acknowledge some people here. Girthy's from Miami. Jetty again. I recognize that name, from Honduras. Awesome. Well, glad you like the topic. One Conscious Poetry from Leicester in the UK. Yes, that's Jacksonville, Florida. And Charlene is watching from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Stampede Week this week. My first time watching. I have no idea what Stampede Week is, but it sounds like it's fun. Is it anything like the running of the bulls? I don't know. When I think of Stampede, I think of a lot of animals running in the same direction. Lisa's from New York. Hello. Ariana from Charlotte. Fantastic. Ivy is calling from California. Awesome. Natalie says thank you. You've been doing the affirmations and it's been helping. And yes, Natalie's from Florida. Oh, awesome. Keep them coming there. Lots of cowboys and horses, food and parties. It's Stampede Week. Well, that sounds like a fun time. Is it anything like Shark Week? It's another thing, apparently. Sharknado. And Richard is watching from the UK. That's fabulous. So keep those coming. I'm going to be asking you some other questions and asking you to comment as we go along, as I get into some of these topics here. And so thank you. Also, I'm glad that we got people showing up, but I've been experimenting with the hours. And at first I was doing these live broadcasts at like peak hours in the morning, around 8 a.m. my time. But lately, I don't know. I think some kind of allergies or something are going on. I've been having to sleep later, and I want to be at my best self. And 8 a.m., 9 a.m., it's just not quite. So I'm going a little bit later. So depending on where you're at, I'm just glad that it worked out for you. So let's talk about this. So actually, some weeks ago, I asked for questions, things you would like me to address during these. Let me adjust my phone there, or my camera angle a little bit. All right, cool. Ask for questions that you'd like me to address, or topics, and I got a lot of them, and so I got enough actually to last me multiple weeks. So here I've got some things that were sent in, similar things by Paris Sethi and by Earl Gavanovich. So Paris, first of all, she writes, I'm assuming this is she. Hi, Bob. Thanks for all you do for us. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. The feeling is mutual. And she says, can you discuss how to determine your authentic self and make decisions? How do you know what is the right path and the right decision? Excuse me while I take a drink. And then Earl, very similar. I just kind of grouped these together, knowing what the right decision is, second guessing. So this is a great topic, and thank you both for sending that in. I'm just going to look real quick here for anybody I might have missed. Less teeth than the cowboy stampede week has less teeth than the shark. I don't know if that's saying something good about sharks or something not so good about cowboys, but that's great. Chris is watching from Atlanta, Georgia. It sounds like tiny. Okay, okay, good. You're at work listening. Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, I don't want you to get in trouble at work, but yeah, if you can put some earbuds in while you're getting stuff done, that's great. Thanks for making the time and the effort to be here. So let's talk about making decisions. So first off, I want to say that not all decisions or topics related to decisions are created equal. The advice that I would give for some would be different from the advice that I give for others. For instance, if you're trying to decide what to eat, where to go for dinner, what to buy at the grocery store, what to wear to an event, that is quite a different level of decision as thinking about quitting your job or leaving your spouse or having some kind of major surgery or medical procedure. That's an option. All right. So I think you need to think of these things differently. I would be more inclined to be adventurous with the low risk decisions like what to eat, what to wear. I think you can have some fun with that. But those more, I don't know if you want to call them higher risk, but those more impactful things like, again, the job, the spouse, when you're going to move to a different country or something like that, that's going to be life altering. I would probably want you to take your time with those. I would never want you to make a decision that's based on a temporary emotional state. In fact, I remember I attended a Jack Canfield. You may know who he is. He's co-founder of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, and he there's a great book out called The Success Principles, which I recommend. I attended like a week-long workshop of his like 10 years ago, but I remember toward the end of it, this is quite often you attend a workshop or a retreat or a weekend thing, and you get all pumped up. You go, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then but then at the end of this particular week-long thing, he said, give yourself at least 2 to 4 weeks before you make any like drastic decisions. Because in a moment of excitement, we might make a decision that in hindsight may or may not have been a good one. Maybe they are good ones. And maybe, but I just want you to make sure that is a consistent decision, or you feel this way over time and not just in a moment of a high emotional state. And so anyway, I just want you to be sensible about this, in other words. And so let's talk about some different ways of making decision. Here's the truth, though. Because I know people are afraid of uncertainty. They want to know the sure thing. I've gotten this, for years. I've been publishing books for artists. I've published a lot of books over the decades on music marketing specifically. And they're quite often over the years, there'll be musicians that come to me or email me and go, I really need to make this work. I'm investing a lot in this music career. I need to know the things that I'm going to do. They're going to guarantee my success. And I'm sorry, there is no way to deliver that to you. What works for one person may or may not work for another. So the truth is, there is no way to know for certain that this decision is the right one. Although I think any decision you make really you learn from it. So really there's no bad decisions, I guess there's another way, unless it's something that physically harms you or other people. Of course, those are just decisions you would not want to do, bad decisions. Let's just talk about some ways to slice and dice this, and I'll give you a little bit of my philosophy on this. One of the ways is I think it's Benjamin Franklin. This has been attributed to him. You may have heard this, but take a sheet of paper and choose a specific thing you're having issues about. You're trying to decide what to do about this thing, and maybe you have two. There's two different options that you have. Let me stay with your job or leave your job or whatever, or to to do this, to invest in this workshop versus this workshop, or something along those lines. Take a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the right side, you put pros. On the left side, you put cons, and just start listing what would be the benefits of doing this thing, the potential benefits as you anticipate them. Write that list. At the same time, write the cons. What are the potential drawbacks of taking this particular route? And just be very thorough. Come back to it and make sure it's a complete, comprehensive list. Then compare them. Is there more on one side than the other? How do you feel about being honest about all the pros and cons of making this particular decision? Other things that you can do are get advice from friends, people that you trust, who won't maybe be too judgmental, or maybe friends of yours that are supportive, who are neutral and objective as best as they can be. We are human beings, so we always bring our own perspectives, to the table. But get advice from people that you trust, and a variety of people, and you may get a variety of opinions. But if you do sense that the majority of your friends and people you ask are leaning one way or the other, that may or may not influence your decision. And ultimately, you do these exercises, you do the pros and cons, you do the advice from friends. Ultimately, you got to, what does your gut tell you? When you're meditating, just quiet down and ask yourself, what is my instinct? What is my higher self? What is my gut telling me is the right decision to make here? And then do it. And so let me ask you, I have a couple more things to say about this, but I'm going to ask you to comment. How do you make decisions? Like, what is your best practice when you come to a fork in the road in your life with whatever the situation is? Again, whether it's as easy as where to eat dinner tonight, or some life-changing thing that's more dramatic. How do you make decisions? I would love to know that. I'm just going to check the comments here before I add some of my own. Shivani says, hi, Bob. Hello. Yeah, how do you know it's your authentic self or ego talking to you? Asks Crystal. Tracy says, hey, Bob. Hi, Sherry. Is it Kajawa? I'm probably may or may not be pronouncing that right. Watching from Dubai. Awesome. Olivia from Detroit. Tracy says, knowing God has been my best way to know the best things to do. I have 2 dream jobs. Can I fulfill both jobs? Well, it depends on, are you able to, if you're splitting your attention. I know sometimes it's nice to have a variety of things to do, but sometimes when you're not able to pour your heart and soul into one thing, it's hard to say in the abstract, but gut instinct backed by logic of pros and cons. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying a little bit. I often have a foot in the 3D world and a foot in the spiritual realm, the what do you call it, instinct, intuition. I think you can pair both of those things. Some people live more in one or the other, and if that works for you, great. But I like to combine them, kind of the mental, the spiritual, the vibrational, with the really feet on the ground, 3D world, physical world that we live in, and combining those two things is what's worked for me. So yeah, to put in there how you make decisions. So here's a term, because everybody wants the answer, right? They want to know the sure path. I want to know this is the right decision. But to me, to live a fulfilling life, it's key. Here's a little quotable for you: to become comfortable with uncertainty. To become comfortable with uncertainty. Some of you may or may not know, I do a lot of things in the arts. I'm a musician, I'm a writer, I'm an author, artist. But one of the things I've done, I'm very involved in recent, for many years, but It's a big part of my energy locally in my hometown. Is I teach improv comedy. I perform, one or two shows a month. So I love comedy. I love improv, which is basically you're making up scenes and games with other players. It's like a form of theater where you're making it up on the spot, but it's based on principles. You have a framework. And so you get a suggestion from the audience, and then you just create these characters, this dialogue on the spot, and that terrifies a lot of people. But I thrive on that, and so to be good at improv or to embrace it, you have to become uncomfortable with uncertainty. And some actors, even people who like to perform, are terrified of improv because they need a script. They have to know what they're supposed to say and where they're supposed to stand, and that's fine. I've done traditional theater too, and I love that art form. But there's something about improv that's just always thrilled me. And so I turned that, not that fear, but that, I think I talked about it maybe last week. I turned the adrenaline rush of going in front of an audience without a script into excitement, and it forces me to focus. So basically, yeah, I would encourage you to become comfortable with uncertainty. And basically, here's my best advice on this: is you do the pros and cons, you weigh things out, you get advice from people, you listen to the inner voice inside, make your best choice, and then take action on it. All right. Once you're taking action on it for a while, pay attention to the results that you get and the feedback that you get from the world. For instance, if it's a new business and you're relying on making sales for this thing, if it's like a business or for-profit thing that you're wanting to choose, which a lot of people aspire to be self-employed or to do something like someone earlier had the two career paths that they wanted to go on. People will let you know by the attention that they pay to that thing and the money that they spend on it. If it's an offer that resonates with people, the marketplace will tell you. And so make a choice, take action, maybe you take baby steps. That's another thing. Maybe you have to go all in and burn the boats, as they say, with no retreat to have to make this thing happen. Or can you do it on the side? Can you take some baby steps to test the waters, which is what I've done a lot with my career and my books and so on. I didn't make the full leap to full time at that time of my life. I did it in baby steps, and then they will quit the job when I had enough money coming in from my books and workshops and coaching and so on. So you make the choice, take action, pay attention to what the marketplace, if it's a business, but also, how do you feel about it? How are others responding? But even more importantly, how do you feel about it once you're engaged in it? Because there have been times, I mean, mostly I've been guided, my instincts have drawn me to creative things that were totally part of who I am. And whether they worked or not, I knew that it was the right path for me. But there are ideas that we get, again, in those like temporary emotional states. You see something, you go, oh, that would be so cool to do. And then you take action on it. And then once you're involved in it, you go, you know what? This is different than I thought. I didn't realize there was all these components involved in it. For instance, when I was in my teens, I wanted to be a rock star. I was a guitar player singing in bands, and that I thought my destiny was to be a musician. And I saw myself playing on stage, touring and being in front of tens of thousands of people. And I had performed a lot in front of large groups, but never was in a touring band. It was always local and regional. And once I realized, I got involved in it, and I said, to really make it in this field, you got to travel a lot. You got to really dedicate your life to it. And I was like, when the little bit of traveling that I did was not satisfying to me. And I started realizing the dedication that it took to make that happen. And so I made a decision to make music a part-time thing that I would always do. This is a decision I made like decades ago, and it's remained true. I've continue to play part-time. I put out several albums worth of music. I perform regularly around town. I've got a small, my girlfriend and I perform and record now over the last decade or so. We have a number of albums out. We have fans. We have songs that they sing along to in the churches where we perform at. And so I have, but I just made a decision to make music that part-time thing. So you can pursue a path and change your mind about it, and that's fine. But But you won't know that or get to that point until you try it, until you get out there and take action. So again, become comfortable with uncertainty. Take an improv class if you've never have done it. They're available in your area. Make the best choice possible based on all these factors, including your gut instinct. Take action on it. Start moving toward it. Pay attention to the results and the feedback you get from others, and then check within yourself: is this still feel good? Do I still want to commit to this path? And you can alter your path along the way. And so that's what my advice to you. I'm just going to do a quick check here on some of the comments. Always the best interest to me. Yeah, Teresa. Oh, you got Teresa C, who was featured, I think, a week or two ago. Says, I pray about the decision first. Sherry, yeah, writes down the pros and cons, make a decision, and then pray about it. There's a lot of prayer involved here. I'm not surprised. If it feels wrong and it takes too long, it's no. If it's not hard to think about, it's a yes. Yeah. I mean, some things, there's certainly things that when it feels right, when there's some kind of inner knowing, because there's definitely not an overnight success. So like I was writing under the radar for a long time. A lot of people, I think that so maybe we have to sort of like nuance that thing about if it takes too long, it's a no. If you're connecting with a small amount of people and there are signs there and you're still drawn to do it, I would say give it a little bit more time. Some people are very impatient and give up too early, but I also agree that, yeah, if it's not there, don't just stubbornly stick with something because you made it a goal or a commitment. Yeah, you can change your mind and realize that you can go on to do something else. Positive vibes, says Mama Love. I am there. Tracy says, I am there now. Noma, how are you? Good day, Bob. She says, thanks for giving us a live stream. You bet. Is everything already in the vortex and there we need to go? Is everything already in your vortex and therefore we need to go within? Yeah, obviously, the vortex reference tells me you might listen to a lot of Abraham Hicks, which I do. Yes, you got to get vibrationally in alignment with it and then take action in the real world and then take those steps that I mentioned there. Yeah, so cool. In a day, how many times we should do? Oh, Shravana says, in a day, how many times should we do affirmations? There's no set time. I'm not like I think you can apply this stuff. I'm very flexible in my advice. So here's the one way that you do affirmations. Some people do them in the morning, and that's fine. I think it's probably best, if I was going to give any advice, to do them in the morning, soon after you wake up, and then also at nighttime. Do gratitude. I have a lot more morning affirmation videos, as you may have noticed, than I have nighttime ones, just because they seem to do better. So I want to kind of supply you with what seems to be working. But the nighttime ones are important too, where you can listen either as you're drifting off to sleep or you let them play and they kind of maybe enter your subconscious mind with affirmations. So if you can do it first thing in the morning and then at night, I actually want to do some research. Maybe you can let me know, even though you can use my affirmations at any time, if I were to create something that's specifically for midday or afternoon, would that be beneficial? I mean, even though they're called morning affirmations, you can listen to them at any time. But yeah, if you have the time and if it helps you to, because we can often we start off in the day, we listen to the affirmations, we're feeling empowered, and then we get into our day and get distracted and something happens and then we're off course. So maybe an afternoon after lunch or whatever affirmation would be good, and then follow that up. Yeah, I don't think you need to necessarily do hours and hours, and that's why a lot of my meditations are kind of short. So Tracy says, over 5 years of being comfortable with uncertainty. That means you've been having 5 years of that. Where can we hear your music? I will actually, if you go to soulmassagemusic.com, that's soulmassagemusic.com, that'll take you to a site called Bandcamp that I often link to in all my descriptions of just almost all of my videos, where I've got some of my music there, as well as a growing number of the affirmation downloads that you can purchase and stream and all that good stuff. Cool. Christina, I love your videos. So thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. Oh my God, Elizabeth says your affirmations changed my life. Thank you for saying that. I'm so appreciative of that. And just know that, yes, I may have been the catalyst. I may have been supplied the affirmations, but you had to make the change. So give yourself credit for making the decision to listen to them and do it on a regular basis. And you created that internal and external change. But I was happy to have helped along that. I listen to both morning and night. Oh, Lillian. Hi, Bob. Just turned in lots of joy from the Netherlands. Oh, just tuned in. Okay. All right. All right, cool. So I'm gonna move along here. So yeah, let's keep going, shall we? And then boy, I don't know how to pronounce this first name. It's Ntathu. Is it Natathu Allen? He or she asked the question, what keeps you inspired and moving forward? Thank you. What keeps you? Wow, I'm already almost a half hour into this. I'm going to answer this one. I'm going to come back to the next. I'm going to save the third question for next time. Now, let me address you. What keeps you inspired and moving forward? So over the years, again, I have spoke to, and a lot of my books are tailored to creative people. So I've dealt with a lot of creative folks. I'm a creative person myself, been self-employed in the arts for many years. And so I talk about over the years this thing called the 4 reasons that people create. You can be applied to non-artistic fields, but I'm just going to apply it to creative endeavors to begin with. And this ties into what keeps me inspired. And also, of course, I'm going to apply it to your life, how you can stay inspired and moving forward. And so the 4 reasons that people create. Number 1, these don't always happen sequentially in this order, but for the most part, I think they do. But the first reason, the motivation that people create is for self-satisfaction. That's where you have an idea to do a drawing, a painting, write a poem, write a song, learn to play the guitar, and you make that thing happen, and it feels good. I mean, God, I created this thing. Look at that. That's my painting. That's my article. That's my book, or not book, maybe we'll, but you create something and it's a sense of self-satisfaction that you feel a little bit of pride that I created this. You had a creative itch, you scratched it, and you were semi-happy with the results. So that's the first reason, is self-satisfaction. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Number 2 is when you get recognition for the thing that you create from other people. And so that's when someone recognizes you as the artist, or say, I loved your song. Boy, that was an amazing poem. I caught your performance the other night, and that just really blew me away. So it's like recognition, it's validation, it's a sense like social acceptance, and that feels good too. So these first 2 are kind of related to each other, but the self-satisfaction, the stimulus comes from within. It's a sense of this is, I wanted to be an artist and I created this. Self-satisfaction. The second piece, is more of external recognition from other people, validation, acceptance. And both of those are valid reasons. They both feel good, and I continue to enjoy both of those. I feel good when I create something, or write a new song or a new video, and I love getting the feedback like I've gotten here. That feels good. However, the third piece is where things really kick into gear, and it's totally tied into this question of what keeps me inspired and moving forward. And it's also the line between being a hobbyist. I don't like when you say you amateur, but if you want to turn pro, if you really want to take your art or whatever your gift is, or whatever your purpose in life is, you want to take it to the next level. This is where things really get good. And so the third reason that people create is for the benefit of others. This is crucial. So again, the first one is self-satisfaction for yourself. The first one is the second one is recognition, validation, acceptance. That's again feeling good for yourself. Then it's for the benefit of others. I'm going to tell you real quickly what number 4 is, but I'm going to spend most of my time on this number 3. And then eventually it's for money, which is something that creative people struggle with. Then there's, can I monetize this? Because you can want to do more with your art or your gifts or your creativity without having a focus on the money. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money. In fact, I think it's a healthy thing to do, to be compensated for your art because you're delivering value. That's a whole nother topic, but you can make a difference with your art or with your gifts or with your mission, with or without money. To me, it's better when you combine them, especially if you want to support yourself or supplement your income. So yeah. But let's talk about number 3, doing it for the benefit of others. That was a big switch for me as an author, and even as a musician, even as an improv teacher and performer. When I realized the effect that I was having on other people, and it started to become, again, early on, it's more about self-satisfaction and recognition, but as you progress and you realize how your art touches other people, or how your mission touches other people, it becomes a greater and greater part of what fuels you. And so in my case, for decades, and I still do, I dedicated my life to educating, inspiring, and empowering musicians and writers and other creative people, to make them aware that they have these gifts and that they should be honing them and expressing them. And then if they want to, they can market them and turn it into some sort of a for-profit thing if they choose to do that. But at least share your gifts so that so that we're impacting the world and leaving a legacy of good, and beauty and art and music and all that stuff. That's where the sharing part of it comes in, which is related to marketing, whether you want to call it that or not. So that's the thing that fuels me more and more. So instead of getting up in the morning and going, well, how many books can I sell today, or how many views can I get on my latest YouTube videos, I tend to ask myself, how can I inspire and impact more people? That's why I've been so thrilled with the growth of this YouTube channel over the last couple of years, because the numbers are great, and I do share those with people, and it's nice to see. But to me, it's more, the reason I'm excited about the growing numbers is because it's an indicator, it's a barometer that I'm making an impact and doing good in the world and helping people. So the larger those numbers are, the more impact, the more positive comments, the more lives I'm affecting. And so that's what fuels me to create 3 new videos a week, and being on that, consistently doing that for a long time. Yes, I still get self-satisfaction for creating something that sounds pretty good, or if I had a good take on my voice or whatever. I love getting the feedback, but knowing the positive impact I'm having on people is more and more of a motivator. Even with the comedy, which seems kind of trivial, people who come to my classes, I am motivated to bring some joy and laughter into people's lives, so to teach them to be more open and uncomfortable. And we talked, like we talked about earlier, didn't we talk about that? Yeah, being comfortable with uncertainty. There are a lot of life lessons with improv about being present, being in the moment, listening, that you can apply to your lives. And so if I can teach people and open their minds about improv, and also help them just lighten up and laugh more. Same thing when I do improv shows. It's a gift I'm giving to the audience of laughter, and they get away from their problems, and they just, biologically, there are all sorts of scientific reasons why laughter is good for your body and your health. And so I focus more and more on those things. So if you have aspirations that you have, goals that you have that maybe have been elusive, or you procrastinate, are you truly focused on how those things that you do benefit others? That would be my recommendation for staying focused and moving forward, especially when challenges come up. Look at the greater good. Look at how you keep doing this thing, you're going to impact more people. Maybe eventually be able to supplement your income or support yourself doing it. But focus on the benefit to others. Let me just check the comments here. Let's see if there are any new ones. So actually, let me ask you. You can and post these. What keeps you inspired and moving forward? I would love to know that. Yeah. So what techniques do you use mentally, behaviorally, to keep you inspired to moving forward on the things that matter to you? Please post those. I'm going to check some of the early ones here. Charlene earlier said, I like affirmations in the morning. I use written affirmations midday. Something about holding the paper in hand connects me. Yeah, you can actually, well, you can read them or you can write them out too. That's another thing is to take some of your favorite affirmations and actually physically write them out. It brings another sensory interaction with them to the foreground. Tracy, who talked about 5 years, a bit over 5 years on a great level, keeping my joy, optimism, forgiveness, love, faith. Awesome. I sit here watching Wimbledon and affirming in my head. You're watching Wimbledon and affirming in your head. Did you want to be that's Selena, I believe it is. That you want to be a Wimbledon tennis player, or just you're just doing affirmations while you watch Wimbledon, or maybe you're sitting there actually at Wimbledon. Is that going on this week? I've been out of touch with that. And Shalon says, thanks. Affirmations are part of her daily routine. Tracy says she's also an author, singer, and songwriter. Just took me 20 years to get ready to share with the world in a bigger scope. Oh, good. Congratulations. It's never too late. Yeah, like I said, I early on wanted to share my stuff, and even though I was a shy kid, but I got over it. Fantastic. Yeah, get out there and shine your light. I did cool. Helping others find their purpose. And is it Shivani says, by doing yoga, I get very self-satisfied and happy. Yeah, do things that bring you joy and bring you into that vibrational alignment. That's fabulous. So yeah, I think that's probably plenty for today. I'm going to save the one about doing affirmations for other people for next time because I don't want to make this too long. We've probably already gone. I want to keep these to a half hour, and I'm already way beyond that. Elora says, I listen to a lot of personal development on YouTube. People like Kevin Trudeau, Les Brown, Tony Robbins. It gets me in a positive state. Yeah, feed your mind with those. Yeah, I've listened to a lot of those people too. Tony Robbins for years. Les Brown is awesome. Yeah, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer. I mean, God, there's just so many of them out there, and I'm glad that that I might be on somewhere on that list of people that you listen to that will help you stay positive. That's my mission in life, is to inspire and empower people to live their best lives, and maybe to experience a lot of joy along the way. The world is too heavy. So I think I'm gonna sign off for now. But if you're watching the replay later, please leave a comment for any of these things. Let me know where you're watching from. Again, if you haven't commented yet, and let me know what keeps you inspired and moving forward. And then earlier, how do you make decisions? Would love to know any and all of those things. So I think the comments during the live segment show up on the side or in a different place than when you comment during the replay. They show below the video in the normal way. So however it is, just make that comment. I appreciate you. Also, if you don't subscribe to my channel, maybe you have a playlist or something, would appreciate you subscribing. If you don't, because like 75% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribers. So there's a good chance that many of you are not. So please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get some free, if you haven't taken advantage of my free affirmation downloads, like 6 free MP3 downloads, just go to bobbakerinspiration.com. That's bobbakerinspiration.com. Fill out the little form there, and I'll send you a download link for those freebies. And then every week I'll send you an update on the newest videos and things that I'm offering. So I'm thinking about doing, I'm going to be launching some sort of 30-day program soon. I'm thinking of a title, a transformation through affirmations, where we do this as a group through a private Facebook group. And maybe even some live Zoom calls, probably, where you can interact with other people, so you don't have to do this alone. So at least for a 30-day program. But I'm going to work out the details of that and keep you posted. But if you're on the email list, you'll be the first to learn about that. Just real quickly, I'm going to check in. Dandy. Oh, Pawnee. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about there. Tracy said, I wrote a few songs. I'm also doing a few cover songs to create an album that I already titled. Awesome. Yes, continue to express your music and share it. So awesome. I appreciate you all. Thanks a lot. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And I'm already working on next week's videos. And we'll probably do this again next Friday. So Have a good one, folks. So long for now. All right. Bye for now.